Hey, Russ, can you hear us?
Can anyone
Yeah.
hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi.
Okay. I call the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. The first order of business is to approve the minutes of October 16th, 2024.
I move we approve the minutes of October 16th.
Thank you, Nick. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Hey, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
I abstain. It's not here.
I also have a poll worker piece.
I move we approve of the slate of poll workers presented by the town clerk.
I said, yeah, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's not an agenda.
She did update it.
Sorry about that.
Missed that. All right. The first hearing tonight is a continuance, and that is Boyd Family Trust. Number 00301-028.010-845 and 100. This is a continuance. Janet, you want to come up?
2 weeks ago, when I left and called the state right away, I had not heard from them as of yesterday. So I called, I finally got someone, and I spoke to him at the very last minute of the day. He called me back. He told me, look at it this morning, to tell me that it was an oversight on the forest management company's part. And I said, so is there a quick fix that we add the barn that obviously I didn't know should have been added? And he said, no, you can apply between now and September of 25. And we'll review it and you'll see an adjustment based on it being a farm building by September of 26. So
Glad
that's.
they move so fast. So Janet, what they're saying is they may be not taxing this building at all. So isn't that what we read into this the last time?
Well,
No, it still does, I'm sure it has a taxable value. It's limited use, again, because of the 4 and 6 foot flood levels in the bottom level. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I think I'm still questioning the increase, which was substantial in floodplain. And that's up to you guys to determine. I'm kind of grateful at this point that I recognize this, which I never knew, but I don't know what it's going to mean, and I won't know for 2 years now.
So what are they planning to actually do? To make an adjustment on the value? Is that what they'll
In
do?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I can let them know it is an ag building. I mean, we walked the property with the forester and the barn was there. I think he just goofed. So it is what it is, but I'm the one paying the price. And it is.
Well, you may not be. I mean, that may not happen either. Can we ask Russ what we should do on this? I mean,
If there was anything else he was going to add.
yeah.
Yeah.
Russ, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we submitted a map, a new map that we
Yep.
got from the forester, I guess. And it's more confusing than it was because they didn't even identify that there was a building on the property. The barn.
Russ?
The usual question, could you move back a little so we can hear you clearly?
Okay.
That's
Can you hear me
better.
okay?
Better, even more.
Move back a little.
But Russ, you are correct. They show the agricultural land, unit 1 on both ends of it, but no building.
But then there's unit 2.
Unit 2 excluded.
Right, the other question was whether that 0.56 acres was enrolled or not. And this map shows that it's still excluded.
So you think it's still excluded?
Well, yeah, this map is showing that it's still excluded. The most recent map. But I had a suggestion as far as reducing the land value. I forgot to actually submit the test. I did a test calculation on it. And if it's convenient for the board, I would reduce the land value down to 100,430 based on putting the 13.2 acres and classifying it as market farmland instead of commercial excess. And then I also took off 20% off the primary commercial. See, the problem is that even though the barn is not identified, because it's actually in the current use unit 1, then it has to have a piece of land that's not in current use, not enrolled in current use. So if the building is not enrolled in current use, then there has to be some land that's not enrolled in current use. So even though the building is not on that 0.56 acres that's excluded, we have to leave it that way to make it legal. So I would suggest, changing the land value. I would leave the building value the same. I didn't look at that. And so the market value for the property would drop down to 143,040. And the taxable value after the current use reduction would be reduced to 87,100. So Sarah can print the cards for you. Wasn't able to print the card. The new card with the suggested reduction to the value, the land value.
Okay, so the total now, including the land and the building, is going to be $87,100.
That's after the current use reduction.
Right, okay. Right. Jen, is this going in current use? Okay,
Well-
yes, I would think it would be.
Well, see, here's where I'm getting confused, because I believe Russ submitted 2 maps to us. One, which was.
One was very old, John. I think it was 2017 originally, which was the first one they pulled up.
Yeah, one August 2017.
Okay, that was the old one.
That's the older
And then I
one.
go to the other one.
See, the original map showed the farm in current use, enrolled,
Right.
That's right.
But
but the state says
it's
it's
not
not.
on the, it's not on the map. It's not, well, it's not on the paperwork.
Okay. So we're gonna get a new property card.
I will get one from you.
Well, Russ said he would prepare one.
Yeah, right, yeah. So the reduction of the land value from,
So to reduce land value, but if you want, we can continue this for another week until you see the land, to see the property card, and then decide what you want to do at that point. Or you can just accept the value that Russ just
The
stated.
value right now is what?
Yeah, why don't we, hold on, let me,
right now, it's, the market value is 169,050. And I'm reducing it, or suggesting to reduce it down to 143,040. The taxable value will go from 96,510 down to 87,100.
I'd love to see the new card, but I
Okay.
don't feel I need a continuance. I mean,
okay, well, yeah, definitely get the new card.
Yeah. And I
don't
will
know how soon the card
pursue
will be.
this other part that is still not as it should be.
Although Sarah is on here tonight, so perhaps she could work on the card tomorrow or in this week. Get your
I think you guys all have your hands full. I don't envy any of you. Thank you for your efforts.
Okay,
It's, no, this, that was an oversight. I just, when he came and did the whole thing That was the whole thing. I thought it was all included.
Okay.
I was wrong.
So just to make sure we're following process here, are you waiving your appeal at this point?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank you.
if that is what the reduction's gonna be, I'm grateful and I'll work on the others.
Okay. Thank you very
Can't
much.
get it done.
Sorry this took so long.
No, that's.
We're gonna
that's
call it
fine.
actually withdrawing
Yes, waiving or withdrawing.
another one I wrote up. It's not good.
Oh.
I'm jinxing the whole process here.
Well, that's a good
No,
jinx.
thank you.
Isn't it?
Thanks,
Alrighty.
Janet.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The next hearing is Vermont Lodge LLC, 02020036.000, 85 West Main Street. And again, this is a continuance. And I believe in this case, Russ prepared a new property card.
Yeah, I did receive it.
You saw it?
I did.
And are you fine with it?
Yep, it's good.
All right.
Is that it?
Yeah. So at this point, are you willing to waive
Yeah,
or withdraw your appeal?
so I do think the land might be a little bit high, but that I can do at a different time and a different date if I so please, right? Like another grievance at some
Well, it'll be
point.
next year.
Next year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
After.
yeah, I'm pretty satisfied.
Okay,
I'm
so you're
withdrawing.
withdrawing your appeal?
I am.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right.
Must be our lucky charms tonight.
We must have. We'll see how it goes, though. It's still unfinished. The next hearing is Schwartz.
So Cornwall is right after Schwartz and our properties join. So can I do 11 Cornwall Way first because I have some information that actually helps and show his land value. And so that it just kind of makes it so you guys don't have to listen to the same twice. So I was just looking at it.
Is everybody fine with?
Yeah.
Which is she representing?
Let's see the issue.
Isn't it-
So, what's your name? I'm sorry.
Pam Cornwall.
Okay, Pam Corwell. All right, so I guess we'll go.
And then you can come up with this. So,
All right, so we're gonna skip Schwartz for now and go to D, which is Corbo, 00201.300, 11 Corbo Way.
Yep.
All right, so we
Okay.
open the hearing. The first order of business is I need to swear you and Russ in, so please raise your right hand.
who is Russ anyway?
He's our assessor.
Where is he?
He's on Zoom.
Remote.
Oh, that's you.
I'm here. Yeah,
Okay. All
hello.
right. Yeah, I've tried to meet you in person many times. Okay, nice to meet you finally. I am
You
at,
have to raise your hand.
I do.
Yes.
What am I doing?
Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Okay,
I do.
okay, thank you, Russ. Did you receive a copy of the rules of procedure for this hearing?
I did. I don't know that I've read them.
Okay.
You
Do,
have a copy there.
yeah, you have a copy right there.
Okay.
Do any members of the Board of Civil Authority have a conflict of interest or have had an ex parte communication?
No.
No, I do not hear any. Okay, Russ, can you introduce the property and its current value?
Okay, we have a residential property at 11 Corvo Way. It's made up of land of 3.06 acres and contemporary style dwelling. The current assessment after the grievance is $768,220.
Okay, great. So now it's your turn.
Okay.
To present your case.
Fantastic. I wanted to start out first with land value, which is where I did get a very large reduction. I actually submitted a bill of sale for $55,000 from 2013. Okay, and I did get a lot of money off on my land, but I'm still at $65,838. I believe it should have been less than 55. That particular land had been for sale since the mid 1980s. So long that the owners didn't even remember they had it, and we had to look up who was representing it. We found it accidentally on Google Maps. So, but my real value was 55. I did pay that. I was originally buying 2 lots at the end. Frank Denmeyer owns 2 building lots right now at the end of Ives Road. They're superior lots to what I have right now. I was originally buying those for 45,000. He raised the price to 90,000. So I bought the 55,000. I said, yay, I'll pay 55. This year, they've assessed those 2 lots at $35,000. As of today, they are still for sale for $110,000 and $115,000, but they've been for sale since 2013. They are not selling. So I would argue that my land is actually worth the $35,000 that Russ has assessed Frank's land at. That land is perked and engineered for building right now. And it's private road, my Shara Drive.
Okay,
Okay. Property card. The town has me down at 2,011 square feet. I have sent in certified drawings from the architect. I have 1,895 square feet. And I have that paperwork if you need it.
Say that amount again for me.
I'm sorry, the what?
Say that square footage amount again for me.
The town has me at 2,011. The architect is 1,895.
Thank you.
anything else?
Yes. So Russ, what do you have my actual house worth right now
The
without the land?
Well, the dwelling, we have, if you look at the back of the property record card, we have a dwelling, we have a carport, a shed, and there's also a generator. The dwelling itself, by
Hold on a
itself,
minute. Hold on just a moment. Did you just say we have a generator?
yes.
There is no generator.
Okay, well, that's something that can be corrected.
Mhm.
Was there ever a generator?
Never a generator.
Okay, so that, right now, we have a value of $8,400 on that, so it would reduce the value by $8,410.
Okay. And so I'm sorry. So then what does that make the actual house worth right now?
Oh, right now, I don't have a calculator in front of me, but the dwelling itself is $6,553 and 653,910.
910. Okay, thank you. Okay. When we were doing the original, do you want me to hold?
That's the land. And the building. 7, 2 total.
7 and 2. Let me see.
Yeah.
Russ, could you, oh, sorry.
Well, why don't we let her finish? and
Okay.
then-
We're looking at numbers too.
No problem. Now, yesterday at like 3:30 in the afternoon, I was finally provided with the comps that the town had. I had originally put in my comps, which I will give you guys a copy of. I feel like mine are more recent and indicative of houses that are similar to mine. So I will submit them to you.
Yes, if it's 7, it's yes.
That's the group that you sent to me.
Okay. So when I go through the comps that are listed from the town that justified my value, I start, Russ provided 156 Bellew Hill Road, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. It sold in 2023 for $725,000. That house has 400 more square feet than me. It's by the lake. It only has 1.9 acres, but it's got gardens, a meandering driveway, stone walls, stone patio, dual storage shed, complete privacy, and it abuts a private land share, protected land. I'm not really sure how any of these really apply to my house, but it was not similar to it, but it's still 725,000. The second one, Mountain View, I do not understand this as a comp. 112 Mountain View, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1,300 square feet. Sold in July of 2022, 476,000. It is smaller than mine. It has 0.69 acres, but it's got lake access, private beach. You can kayak on the lake. I mean, it has absolutely zero relevance to my property, but I'll take the 476 if you want. 47 View, 3 bedroom, 3 bath. Closed in October of 23 for 508,000. It's a Chimney Hill. Chimney Hill is a completely different entity when it comes to sales. It is on a double lot. It's a cul-de-sac, has a detached garage. And that one is also larger than mine at 2,056 square feet. The next one is another 2022 sale. I didn't know that we could go back that far. 12 Conifer Lane, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 2,100 square feet, 635,000. It's 3.7 acres. It's nowhere near my location or my style. It has a 2-car attached garage, which I do not. It has a finished basement, which I do not. And then the final one that was used was 83 Town Farm Road, 3 bedroom and 3 bath, 2,566 square feet, sold in, what is that, April of 22, May of 22 for 480,000. It's an acre, it's 1 acre of land. It's got lake views, has 671 more square feet than I do. So I'm not really sure using the comps that Russ used to come up with my value, which once again, I just got yesterday afternoon. I do not understand how these necessarily apply to my value or how we came up with said value, because they're not near my location. They're not the same build. There seem to be a lot of lake things happening or Chimney Hill. And they're also 3 of these 5 comps are from 2022. So
You don't have a recent appraisal, do you?
I don't. And I actually, when you guys sent this out, I even wrote to the town that I had reached out to 3 different appraisers to have someone come to the house, and nobody called me back because I think probably everybody was doing this.
Well, we don't have a lot of appraisals up here. We have a lot of retirees.
Yeah, well, yeah, so I did call, like I went through a list, I reached out to a lot of people and I let the town know, and I said, if you have somebody, please have them come over, contact me, but nobody did. So I did try to get an appraiser to come over. I would like to go to the comps that I just sent. I just gave you the copy of my Excel sheet, which is what I originally put in when I did my original
Hold on 2
grievance.
seconds.
Yeah, hold on.
Is there,
Maybe there's just one copy. There's photos.
do I have the photos? So I'm just, is it already in evidence, your comps?
Not in the Dropbox.
Yeah.
There should be, that sheet is not. But
Okay.
there was a whole bunch of
Yeah, no, I see all the,
Zillow.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I see all the Zillow stuff.
And some photos.
Okay.
I can photocopy this if you want.
Yeah, why don't,
I do have pictures that I can give you guys, but they're
No, we
part
have
of my
pictures.
file. Okay.
we have pictures of your basement.
Oh, yeah, you have pictures of my basement and do you need the outside of my house?
No, because see, part of this process is we're gonna go inspect your house.
That's great.
Yeah,
I've
right.
invited you guys to come inspect multiple times. So are you ready to go through my
No.
comps? Okay.
We're gonna wait till we get copies so we can all see what you're talking about.
Oh, for the comps that I sent you? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I think it'll be easier.
I do have all of the pictures of the comps that were used from the town, from Russ, if you wanted to look at those. Just to kind of get an idea of how they do not apply to my
We,
house.
we have a bunch of Zillow printouts.
Okay.
And we have the other comparables, property cards.
Yep.
Russ gave us with
Okay.
at least one picture.
All right, great.
We just don't have that one document.
You have to excuse me for a second. I'll be right back. I just got to get my glasses.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm getting old. Okay, I'm back.
All right, we're still on a hold while we get the comps document that,
With the new windows, it doesn't knock that. noise out.
I can still hear it.
Is there anywhere that I can get some water?
sure. If you go out of the meeting room, there is a water bubbler thing on the left. And if,
Sure, the glass
if
is
there,
there.
there's cups
cups, yeah.
right back where that sink is. You're welcome.
You guys want one?
Sure. If you don't have enough, I could just call it.
Thank you.
So it's a summary.
Yeah.
Are you guys just getting the summary of my comps?
Yes, we have it.
Great.
So,
I've actually written down pretty much my arguments for each one, but I'll guide you through, okay?
okay.
All right, great. So you're going to wonder why the first two comps when they're more expensive than my original assessment. But I would like to use 339 Coldbrook is what was assessed at 800.
Excuse me, I think the volume has dropped off.
I know that the volume, it was, my value was only reduced.
No,
be-
no.
Volume, I think you
Oh.
said.
Volume.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, sounds,
This,
Fix it.
Yeah.
Can you hear it now?
can you hear me now?
yeah,
Okay,
Okay.
all right, great.
thanks.
Okay, great. So, now I know that my current assessment is at 768, but before I did my first grievance, proving my land value, I was at 883. 339 Coldbrook is a 4-bedroom and 3-bath, has 3,500 square feet. That's $1,600 more than me. 1 more bedroom, 1 more bath, a 3-car attached garage, and 10 acres on a town maintained road. There's a $14,000 difference between my value and their value on the original assessment. I do not understand that. 72 Aldrich is 7 bedrooms and 5 baths at 3,574 square feet. Sold for, it's assessed at 907, has 1,679 more square feet, 4 more bedrooms, 2.5 more baths, a 2-car garage, a pond, and 23 park-like acres. And that's $24,000 more than my original. So I was very confused as to how we got to the 883 in the first place. And like I said, I don't necessarily agree with the comps that were given when my value was set up. I did highlight 12 Overlook. It's funny, I actually thought that it was 15 Look Road, but 12 Overlook, I'm not sure what neighborhood it is. I thought it was the one that was right off of Coldbrook, right down the street from me. I just,
Chimney Hill.
is it? Thank you. I didn't know. I didn't know that when I highlighted it, or else I wouldn't have used it, Chimney Hill. But I will say that it is a similar type of construction. It is a 2018 build, has 1 more bedroom than me, 1/2 less bath. And it is on 1/2 acre, but I did not realize, I thought it was that one that was right down there on Look Road. Although Look Road sold in 2020 for like 450,000, and it's very similar to my house. And it's a newer build. But the construction is almost the same. The thing that makes my house look really amazing is my portico, which doesn't do anything for me in the winter, really, right? I got these big trees out of Idaho and I threw them in the front, but it doesn't add actually value. It just makes the house look really nice in the front, but it's not like having a garage when we have these storms. So that is the one thing that always throws people off, I think. Davis was a 2024. You can see similar type of construction again. It's not updated, so I'm not arguing that my house is worth $369,000, but it does have 1 more bedroom, 600 square feet more, and I only used it because it was sold before the original assessment. Stowe Hill, you guys can see it's not similar in style, close in square footage and timing. It's on 1 acre. It does have a renovated kitchen, baths, flooring, and roof, 3 bedroom, 3 bath. Ray Hill went for $575 in 2024. This one is similar in square feet, but it has 13 acres. It's got views, has an attached 2-car garage, a renovated kitchen with wolf range and a fenced in backyard. Sounds great, $575. So we're still really far from that 883 original. The 104 Radar, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. It went in October of this year for $535, assessed at $477. It's got 1,500 square feet more than I do. It's got 11 acres, landscaping, stone walls. It's got 2 living rooms, a large garage, and an additional detached garage, which I do have a shed. It's like a large oversized building that we keep like ATVs and snowmobiles in. So I do have that. And that one even has a tennis court. Sounds great. 65 Country Club. It was assessed at $557. Similar in size, still has that attached garage and has almost 42 acres. So I'm trying to show that we also have Old Ark. Does that mean something?
That means somebody joined.
Okay. I'm just trying to show that this land, I'm not understanding how we're getting the land value or the housing value based off of these. And you can look at the things themselves, but a lot of these are nicer than my house and offer more things, and yet they're assessed way less than mine. So, and you can go through, I'm not going to continue, except for 157 Minor also has 10 acres of, I will do 157 acre Minor. 157 Minor is a custom built house. It's on 10 acres of landscaped. They fully renovated it. It's got 7 more acres than me. It's got an attic, a 3rd floor. It's assessed at $371. And that one has had a really difficult time in the market. So I think it ended up selling at $325. And that took years for that house to get sold at that price. So those are ones that I wanted to show to have somebody figure out the actual value of my home. I don't know how you compute that, but these are what I consider more relevant comps. Now you're probably wondering why I have Ives Road on here at the very bottom. And this is where I'm going to kind of cross over with Pete. So on Ives Road is pretty much like a $300,000 neighborhood overall. And I will point out, so my house is on 2 Corvo Way. It's really Ives Road. The town, when we built, asked us what we wanted to name the road, and we were just building a driveway. We're like, I don't know, I guess we'll name it Corvo Way, right? Like, but it's really Ives Road. You have to go to Ives Road. It's a shared drive. You go take a right off of one side, you get to my house, and on the left, you get to my old house. You can see my old house right from my new house. So it's not like I'm on this acreage that is like the park light views or landscaped or anything else. Cute houses, but still. 2 Ives Road is kind of offsetting what's going on in the neighborhood. Although it's only assessed at $325, but it did sell last September for $510,000. It's been kind of an outlier on Ives at $500,000. It does have 1 more bedroom than me, 1 more full bath than me. But it just kind of seems to be that one that just keeps selling really well. And it's been sold like 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years. I'm using that as a high sale because 36 Ives in 2018 went for $130,000, and that was in complete disrepair. So I'm just trying to show the discrepancy between those 2 said homes on the same side of the street. 1 for 130, 1 for 510. The one that's similar to me is actually Dino's old house, which is 10 Ives Road, and that sold in 21 for $449. It's a contemporary chalet. It's got an updated kitchen and bath. It has the same detached garage as me. It's assessed at $409. He did sell it for $449 in 2021. It took years for him to get the $449, but that's also when rates were at 2%. So this is the most similar in pricing to mine on my street. But I did want to show you there's like just a big variance of housing prices there. And I don't know why 2 Ives keep selling for so much, but people just kind of keep moving in, making adjustments, and then they sell it for more. So I would like to suggest that my land get reduced to about $35,000. Same as the 2 building lots that Frank Damemeyer has at the end of my road, which I think is generous because it's not as nice as those 2 building lots. And I think that a fair market value on my home would be in the 625 range.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, Russ, you want to respond?
Yeah, first of all, if we take the generator off, that would reduce the value down to $759,810. The other issue is the square footage. Somebody, it wasn't from this reappraisal, maybe the prior reappraisal, they inspected the interior and they came up with the square footage based on what was measured up on the 2nd floor.
Can I just stop?
No,
No.
Okay, sorry.
The square footage on the 2nd floor may be wrong, and that's why our square footage that we have, the 2011, may be a little bit off. So the only way of verifying that is the building would have to be remeasured to make sure that the footprint is correct for the 1st floor, and the interior would have to be measured to determine if that 515 square feet is accurate. If it is a little on the high side, that would reduce the value down a little more. Yeah, the comps that we used were, they're computer generated based on the comparability, and there's nothing exactly the same, obviously. And so the computer makes adjustments for the quality, the condition, the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage, and does automatically does adjustments to the subject property. The other issue is, well, I went on Zillow today. You had mentioned Zillow. So I went on to Zillow and they listed your value at the value of your property at 821,000. You know, you can't always be, trust everything that's on Zillow, but we found it's a good indication in some cases. So we can get an idea whether we're tracking reasonably well with the market. So the square footage is one of the primary factors for doing the valuation. So if that upstairs, or even if the first floor dimensions aren't accurate, then we'd have an incorrect value. We can re-inspect it, but the only way to verify the upstairs would be to have an interior inspection and measurement.
Can I,
Nope. Questions from the BCA?
Age is 2016. Did I read that right on the blister card?
I guess so, yeah.
So the house was built in 2016.
Mhm.
Who built the house?
Combo, Scott, what was Scott's? Yeah, Scott was the one that implemented the plans, and then it was basically like a put together house. It was like a Lego house that you have to put
Scott
together.
Reed?
Dupuy.
Great.
Yep.
All right, so when you say put it together,
It's,
did it come in pieces?
yes. Yep,
Okay.
came in pieces. Yep, it's like a Lego house.
Didn't see that mentioned on it.
Yep. I do have the floor plan from the architect that I put into my original, which is what I wanted to interrupt with the square footage. So that was from the actual, and I have the drawing plan as well. So I have submitted those for the 1895.
Any other questions from the Board of Civil Authority? So I have a question for Russ. If the square, I mean, you said that if the square footage is wrong and it's less, it would reduce the property value. Assuming that the square footage is, what did you say, 1895?
Mhm.
Do you know how much that would reduce the value, Russ?
Oh no, I'd have to run it through the system.
Okay.
But if she has if I had those drawings, I could verify those with the sketch that we have and readjust the sketch. So if nothing's changed since those prints, since the house was built, then I would say that's the most accurate information we would have.
Okay.
Mhm.
So go ahead, John.
But Russ, you said that the prior assessment that somebody went out and actually measured?
Well, I didn't realize we had a drawing from the architect to compare. So that would be the best indication of, the square footage. If we didn't have that available, then the only way we could do it is by an interior inspection.
No, I thought you had said we had already done that at the last assessment.
Well, yeah, I believe, yeah, the drawings were made by the prior reappraisal company, and they did interior inspections at that time in 2020.
So, I mean, at this point, if you submit the documentation from your architect, it'll go into evidence. Russ can look at it.
I did that originally as well.
And then could change the property card,
Okay.
and we should probably continue.
And could you also take this is some of my notes for the town comps that you guys can keep. If you could make a copy for everybody to just see my notes. It's very similar to what I did with my, yes. Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to continue the hearing until next Wednesday at the same time, so that Russ can have an opportunity to prepare an updated property card.
Okay.
With the square footage that's indicated on the architect's drawing. And
Yep.
then we can proceed to close the hearing in this case. at that time.
Okay,
All right, thank you very much.
come on up, Pete.
Inspection.
No, we're not gonna schedule an inspection. We're gonna see what happens with the property card.
You still have the property card.
I just handed over the architect drawings and those are, these were certified and I had given those in my
Yep.
original
And
grievance.
we'll get them into evidence and
Okay.
take a look.
I don't
So-
have a problem. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Buzz.
So next case is Schwartz, 00201021 dot 0017 Ives Road. Who's testifying?
We're kind of doing a joint, but I'm going to take the lead if that's okay.
Is that okay with you? Okay. All right, and everybody who's going to speak needs to raise their right hand. Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you've given the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay.
And can I confirm your name?
Peter Schwartz.
Thank you.
Thanks. Did you receive a copy of our rules of procedure? Great. Are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications on the Board of Civil Authority?
No.
Okay, hearing none. We will go. Russ, would you like to present this property, please?
Yep, we have a residential property at 17 Ives Road. It has 3.06 acres and a Cape style house. The current assessment is $415,520.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep,
We
you
do
got it.
have photographs that can be passed.
Are those already on the Dropbox?
Yes, they are.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay, great. All right. 17 Ives Road. Property card says 2,156. It is actually 1,656. That's 500 square feet more. He has drawings and he also submitted those during the original grievance.
Okay.
You're gonna need to split that microphone between the two of you to make sure that folks out there can hear you.
Sorry, did you catch that?
Why don't you repeat yourself, just so, because we
So
can hear you in the
yep,
room,
yep.
but the people on Zoom can't hear you unless you're speaking into the microphone.
During the grievance a couple months ago, I mentioned that the square footage had changed on the property card with nothing being done. And I was told that it would be changed back to the 1650 or 1656. But don't see that change being made.
Okay.
So, and Pete was fully denied on his grievance, by the way. His land is valued at $59,830. He is right next to mine. Our land adjoins. I would almost argue that Pete's land is worth about $20,000. It is a point, and I will show you the history of 17 Ives and how it is very difficult to sell because it straddles Ives Road and Coldbrook, and the bedrooms are right on the road. And so it's an interesting house. I would also like to note that if generator is part of, they do have a generator. It has never worked since they started. They have been told to just replace that generator. I don't know if you guys come out and do anything with that, but we would like that $8,400 as well.
Is there a generator there?
It is there, but it doesn't work. He's had,
But you know, if it's sitting there,
right.
it's there, okay. Right.
But if it doesn't work, like, do you have to just
I'm not
physically
gonna call
remove
the
it?
Maytag repairman for you, I'll tell you that.
No, I have that. I understand that. I do understand that. The reason that we're saying that this house is difficult, if you look at the history of 17 Ives Road, that house was built in 2005. It went straight to the bank. 2006, there was an owner who put it, who had it, bought it from the bank. He put it on the market in 2006 for $275,000. 2 years later, it still didn't sell. So he took it off the market. In 2010, the original owner put 17 on, he put it on the market again for 268,000. 429 days later, never sold. 2013, the original owner puts it up for 219. He finally sells it to Pete and Tanya for $207,000. It sat on the market for 794 days, but it was officially really on and off the market with the same owner from 2006 to 2013. When they bought that house, that was when the economy was great and they were Hermitage Club members at the time, and the club was thriving. So things were going for a higher market than, you know, what they should probably be. And he still got that house for 207,000. And I do have the listings if you wanted to just see the history of those listings, because it's kind of interesting. So that is where I would like to say that Pete's value should really be in the 240 range. And I think that that's being pretty generous, but we did also just get the assessor's comps yesterday. And they were also kind of interesting. And we're not really sure how they necessarily compare with Pete's actual house. The first one is 47 View Road. Oh, did you want to show your land too? If you want to show them, like, just, I don't know if you need a copy of, like, it's a funky piece of land.
Yeah, it's, no, if you're gonna show us something, it needs to be brought into evidence, which means it needs to be copied in
Okay.
our Dropbox.
Okay, and we will leave it. Out of the Wilmington comps, we have a Chimney Hill at 47 View Road. That was, you know, it's a double lot. It's been upgraded. It sold for $508 or $508,000, and it is 500 square feet more than his. 57 Snowshoe sold in 2022. The property card on that one says that it's $1,568 or 500. I'm sorry, I'm losing it now. 1,568 square feet. The active listing has it for 2,200 square feet. So we're not sure, but the people that bought it in 2022 for 449, it's an active listing and it just got reduced to 445 and it's still sitting there. So I don't know how we can really use Snowshoe as a comp because it's an active listing unless we're going off of the 2022, in which case you can already show it's $5,000 less and nobody's buying. 2 Ives is that property that I told you is on that keeps going for the 500. It just sold for the 510. It's just renovated. It's nice. And it's an outlier in the neighborhood. 19 Strider. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. It's the end of a private road. And it sold in 2022 for $380,000. And it also has an updated, was that updated kitchen? Updated kitchen, wood floors. He's got, Pete's has carpeting in it. So, and it sold for $380 and he just got assessed for $4 something. And then Frog Hollow, another Chimney Hill, sold in 23 for $420,000. It's a triple lot. It's 3 acres. It's 2,100 square feet. So 500 square feet larger and not in the neighborhood. So we had originally submitted different comps that we thought were better. And you know what? I should have given you this because I did have a town copy for you and I didn't realize. So should I have you do, I should have you do that because I think that our comps really give you more of a $200,000 or $250,000 value. Right.
Therese, I think given that the square footage is wrong on this, what I'm going to propose that we do is continue this hearing and you can testify about the comps and everything next Wednesday.
Well, we may be able to clarify the square footage difference. According to the records.
Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, according to the records we have, the difference is there's finished basement. We have it as a walkout basement. When it's a walkout basement, if there's finished in the basement, then we count it in the square footage. So that's where the additional 500 square feet came from. So if there's, I think it was discussed whether it was finished basement, and it was confirmed that there was finished basement.
Sorry, I missed the end of that. The assessment was for the
Well,
basement.
Is there 500? We've got 50% of the basement finished.
None of the basement's finished. I put photographs of my house into Therese earlier this afternoon with photos of the unfinished basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the original 2006 or 2004, I forget the exact date of manufacture, with the original bathrooms, with the original siding, the original everything, what is now a rotten deck. And the views overlooking Coldbrook. So as much as it pains me, it's the house is in much need of updating, and the photos speak to the basement itself with water damage and not being finished. There are 2 steps that lead out, but it's not a walkout basement.
When we did an appraisal or reappraisal in 2022, did someone come into your house?
No. And that was mentioned during the grievance, and it was said, oh, wow, it looks like it's 500 square feet. That usually means that somebody kind of just came out, eyeballed it, made a call. That's what I was told.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have to ask that question because the last appraisal, one prior to this, was basically a physical one. We went out and the lister's office at that point, understand listers are no longer with us.
Okay.
It was a change. It's a change in the town government on that. That's where Russ comes in and he gets to pick up the pieces. Okay, so that's how it works like that. But either way, you bought the house when?
2013.
2013. Okay.
Yep.
And the price was
209,000, 207,000.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, you bought it 2015.
Sorry. Yep. Sorry about that. 2015 for $207,000. I think and yeah, originally appraised for that for the 1,654 based off of our blueprints and all that, and then in 2020 was it 2023, whatever the last property card update, 500 square feet appeared.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, so if the basement isn't finished, that could be subtracted off, and that obviously would reduce the value then.
Oh, I mean, we do have the pictures and.
Right, so Russ, can you just explain when you said it, because I'm looking at the sketch and I guess walkout, that's what the WO means.
Yeah.
That shows on this one as 1,008. The difference is 500. How does that back into that number?
Well, we were saying that half of the basement was finished. So that's where the 500 came from.
Gotcha, okay. So,
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, there's a background.
yeah.
Photographs were taken this afternoon.
I mean, the pictures.
Say it's unfinished.
But-
Storing
Yes.
furniture.
There's
Hey, Russ, so my question then, what determines that it's partially finished, looking at, we're looking at a picture, but
Well, if it's not finished, it's not finished. So
how did you determine that it was
He
finished?
didn't determine it.
But he did, okay.
No, so he did,
Mistake.
yeah, he just did
Said,
a
okay.
computer reappraisal, so he
Gotcha.
didn't look at any property.
Well, I think a lot on this it's going to be hinged on an inspection.
Well, I think again, we're in the thing is with the
Continuing
square
to
footage
the
is
square
wrong,
footage.
is continuing the hearing, so Russ can go back and complete a new property card, and then we can,
Then we'll do the inspection.
then we'll do the inspection. So
And
we'll,
you could present the
the comps
The other comparables.
next Wednesday. All right?
I guess my only other question is, we're talking only about square footage at this point. Square footage changes, right? I mean, you can have a house that's at $154 a square foot, and you can have $800 a square foot. And so I guess I'm thrilled that mine is going to get changed. Pete's will definitely get changed, but I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, how did Pete's house end up becoming a $400,000 house? There's no way that he'll ever get something for that house. And I think that we have from
Well, that's why
2005.
we're gonna look at the comps next Wednesday.
Okay.
Well, just one comment. I went on Zillow today, and we currently have it assessed at 415,500. Rocket valued it at 462,000. Zillow valued it at 486,000, and Redfin valued it at 432,000. So we're lower than all the estimates from the agencies.
Sorry. Zillow had it at 2,250 square feet. When you made that comment to Pam, I went on Zillow and looked because I'm wondering how accurate it could be. But yeah, the house keeps growing.
I've sat on this board since 2008. I've never even heard the term Zillow ever used in this room. I'm very serious. We've never used it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't use it directly in any way. We just use it as a reference, just as a guide to see if we're in the ballpark.
So Russ, you'll complete a new property card which shows an unfinished basement.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll
And
continue.
you left your comparables with Therese.
Yep.
For Ice Road, 17 Ice Road. Right.
I did. I think I did.
Just so that you know for
You know
reference.
what?
You gave me this,
So it's a-
you seem to be testifying from something, I don't know if that's something.
We're not gonna go through the comps tonight.
Okay. Yes, we do. You have the.
But there is a
concept.
property for sale in Ives area right now.
Yes, there is.
Did you get a new document? Hold on, Tom. I just want to make sure we have everything in evidence. Do we have the comps for Mr. Schwartz's property?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah.
about to leave the room. with.
Okay, good. Then we have it. That's all. Go ahead, Tom.
So anyway, it's a 2-bedroom, 0.7 acres, 369,000.
We don't know what it's closing for.
Again, it's not closed. I'm saying everybody that puts it on the market, it's kind of the sky is the limit. We know that.
Mhm.
All right. And again, these things will be corrected, obviously, if they're not right. And adjustments will be made. We'll still go and take a look. Right. So do me a favor, get your generator fixed.
Or rip it out. I mean.
Okay.
Thank you.
So 1 week from tonight.
Yep.
Busy night, huh?
So the next hearing is Bliss, 00204018.
Therese,
147 Haskell Hill.
You have the paper, up there for Mr. Bliss. You see anything? I'm looking for the card, the lister's card. Thank you.
Which are the same. One, this is for Schwartz, and this is for yours.
You're David.
I am David.
All right. First order of business is to swear you and Russ in. Please raise your right hand. Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in this cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay. Did you get a copy of our rules of procedure?
I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
They're there.
They're right there for you.
It's
Okay, are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications with Mr. Bliss?
No.
I'm hearing none. So, okay. Russ, can you please introduce this property?
Yes. So we have a residential property. It's a seasonal property at 147 Haskell Hill Road. It's made up of 7.81 acres and a camp.
Excuse me,
No,
we're
no,
here.
No.
Can't
No.
hear it.
Just a minute. I'm wearing hearing aids. It's hard for me to hear him.
Okay.
It's an echo. So,
Russ, can you sit back a little again? Try that.
Okay, how's that?
Is that better?
Is it better?
Yes, that's a little bit better.
Okay. So again, we have a camp at 147 Haskell Hill Road. It has 7.81 acres. The current assessment, now I provided 2 property record cards, an old one, the original one, and a new one. After I researched the property a little better and made some adjustments to the building value and the land value. So the original card, which was appealed, the value was 130,270 total. And after I made the changes to the land using influence factors and reducing the condition of the camp, they reduced it down to 118,130. So that was my recommendation for possible reduction by the board.
Okay. Hold on. That's what he's talking about. Is that was your grievance 130.
right.
Now it's kind of.
Okay. That was before this hearing or
No,
as part of this hearing
it's
or?
part of this hearing.
Huh?
It's part of this hearing. So it's been reduced
Okay,
since you decided to appeal to us.
right. So I just so I can understand the math or the connection is that the card, the data card, the property card had it as having hot water and a kitchen and a bathroom. And then none of that exists as I put into the
Right.
pictures that I sent to you. It's a 13 by 23 single room, an old hunting cabin built years ago, many years ago, on the property with wood from the property. So it's not a manufactured log home. And the roof had blown off and rain had gone in for 5 or 10 years and it was all, so it took a lot just to get it sort of stable, put a roof on it. But the town on your thing has said that it had a bathroom, it had hot water, I just want to understand the math is that it, unlike the card, it has no electric, it has no plumbing, it has no, there is no plumbing fixtures, there's no kitchen. It's simply a square box. So I came here just because I wanted to get the card correct. Is that what's reflected here?
Why don't I let Russ answer that question? Russ?
Right. Yeah, some of it was corrected. There still might be more of the property. And it, E911 map, the internet just said it was a weak connection for some reason. I'm not sure why. Can you hear me okay?
Not really. So Russ, we're still seeing on the property card that there's a slab. There's clearly not a slab foundation.
No, is the camp on the pond?
What?
The camp what?
The camp, there's a large pond on the property. I submitted the map with the E911, which doesn't really identify where the building is. They actually put it on the same lot with the 149 Haskell Hill. So it doesn't actually, the map doesn't actually show where that camp is. So I didn't know if it's on the pond. Is there water? There's no water to the property. There's no water to the camp. That's something we can make an adjustment for.
I'm sorry, I cannot. Maybe someone can tell me what
Is
is.
there water to the camp?
No,
Is there electric to the camp?
no.
Is it along the pond? Where is it located?
I'm sorry, what?
Where is it located on the property? Russ said that it's coming up here.
Oh, that's,
This property, you know where exactly the
yeah,
camp is located?
well,
Does this map? Sorry.
it would be, it would,
Is this a pond? Is that what you're saying? That this is a pond?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
This,
it appears that the E911 map is wrong.
He's saying it appears that the E911 map is wrong.
what's the
As
E?
far as this, as far as the location of the cabin.
Okay, it's 147 Haskell Hill. So if you're going up Haskell Hill, it splits at the top. If you go straight in, the property, it's undeveloped, it's there. And it's probably,
They're noting this as 47.
yeah, that's probably right. I mean, this is not a,
Right near these other buildings?
yes, this is my house.
Okay.
So this is my house and the cabin
Yeah.
is, I don't know, 500 yards?
So is it on the same property as your house?
No,
It's not separate, it's a separate lot, correct?
147 Haskell Hill is a separate deeded taxed lot.
Right.
It is undeveloped. It has no electricity, no water. I'm looking at this card that you just gave me with the 118, or excuse me, on the back, it still has one kitchen sink, one water heat. As I put it, I tried to make this simple for you folks. I sent a note that basically says, point one, the card is significantly in error because it says public utilities electric, there is no electric in the property. It says there's a slab floor. It's not, it's suspended wood. It says under heating and AC, the primary heat is hot water. There is no heat, there is no hot water. Under plumbing, it says there's a 3 fixture bath, 1 sink, 1 water heater, and there is no bath, sink, or water heater. I forwarded to you, which you had in advance of the meeting, pictures, which shows it an undivided 13 by 23 old log cabin box. So if the reduction to 118 doesn't reflect that, then we have a ways to go. So for however many years it's been this way, it's been taxed as if it were an operating building. And as I try to say in my short brief at the beginning, when we bought it, it had water coming in through an open roof, animals living in it. Because we like having it on the property, we worked to get it back in shape, but it is at best a fragile structure. So, I mean, that's just what's easy between us is this is just a simple matter of fact. You can come look at it. There is no electric, water, heat. There's no division to the building. There's no kitchen. There's no toilet. Easy.
So Russ, did you hear all that?
Yes, yes. So I can make adjustments. I did some already, but I could take off the plumbing, make sure the plumbing and the heating is not there. and go for that.
Okay,
I already defined it as being off the grid with no power.
okay. All right, so
Should we go look at it instead of making Mr. Bliss come back? You know, if Russ can correct the card.
But that's,
yeah, but the problem is if you can correct the card, we can go
that
look at
changes
it.
the value.
Right.
Yeah,
No, I don't remember exactly, but when I was looking at 149, does 149, is that in the same ownership on town records?
No, folks, these are simple facts. It's a separate parcel. It's not owned by the people at 149.
Your house is has access from Look Road, correct?
Excuse me?
Your main house, you access from Look Road, correct? Not
Yes,
from
I'm on Look Road, not
147.
Haskell Hill.
Right, exactly.
The only reason we bought this is that it was owned by 2 or 3 couples in New Jersey for some extended period of time. They decided to sell. I wasn't interested in having someone build. I'd like to keep things open and natural, so I acquired it. And the only thing and what was interesting to us was this old log cabin that hopefully could be restored once I got the animals out of it. But, so.
Well, yeah, so the thing that kind of threw me off is the E911 map, which shows your driveway access going to your property and also going to 149. So apparently that's not correct.
I didn't do it.
So the map that I submitted shows access to the property from Haskell Hill Road, where there's a driveway.
Oh, well, maybe I can help you understand it. The people at 149 have a driveway easement over the property. It's a permanent easement. So it decreases in some way the value of the property because I've got a permanent driveway easement that was established when they bought their property long before I bought this property. So the only connection to 149 is they have a driveway easement.
Okay, but that's not how you access the property.
Excuse me?
Do you use that driveway to access your lot?
To get to my lot, we come in from Haskell Hill. We come in at the beginning of my neighbor's driveway. And there's an old, I guess, log road or something that we never drive in, but we don't drive in. But if you were to drive in, that's where you'd come.
We need to drive in. It's a driveway, right? That you share.
There's a
with the
right of way
neighbors.
there's a right of way off of Haskell Hill Road for your neighbors
He has a right of way over my land, right?
that they drive on.
So here's the issue we face. So obviously, the property card needs to be updated and new value attached. Yes, we could go inspect it, and Russ could provide new property card, but we will not have heard from Mr. Bliss or Russ if they agree
Right.
on those values.
I didn't understand that.
So, Mr. Bliss, what we're going to do is we're going to continue the hearing. Russ is going to provide a new property card based on the information you provided that, there's no slab foundation, no electricity. And then you'll get an opportunity to see that, and we'll finish this up next Wednesday. We can't make that.
No, I can't make it, but okay. I mean, I don't understand why it's so complicated. But you can inspect, if you want to get into the building, I need to
We're
know.
not inspecting at this point. What's going to happen is Russ is going to update your property card to reflect the information that you provided tonight and in your written testimony,
Okay,
which will, I believe, lower the price even more than the new property card that's in front of you. And so if we can agree that that's the price, then that's it. If we're not, then we will go and do our inspection.
no, you can, I'm not trying to be compatible, I'm trying to be helpful.
All right.
I mean, and because as I said in my note to you, and I guess this was saying you'd already reduced it to 118, but that still had a fully functioning electrified watered.
Right, so we're gonna fix the property card.
Right. which I assume will then reflect a fix in the valuation.
I believe it would.
Because my second question on comparability was that this property is here, which I own, and I have an abutting property on Look Road. The one on Look Road is 10.6 acres. It's undeveloped in the same way. It doesn't have a cabin on it, but it's undeveloped, and you assess that value at 83,000. This property is 7.8 acres. So I don't see how these two properties that butt up to each other, this is 10.6, this is 7.8, how this is 83, and this is even 118. I mean, I don't see how that works. When you get the cabin reflected, it's just a square box, empty building. But
So what would probably happen on your new property card is the value of the building would go down further. The value of the land would probably not change at this point. But we can continue the hearing so you can argue over.
okay, no, I'm not trying to argue. It's a complicated process.
Well, it is. I mean, you're making an argument, and you know, it is a quasi-judicial process. You have to make an argument. We
Right.
have to listen to it. We have to listen to Russ's argument and then decide what the value should be.
Yeah, when we can hear better, I'd like to hear Russ's argument on how 10.8 acres and 7.8 acres, this one is more valuable than this one. This is a rectangular right on the road. This is an odd shape. I don't see how this gets to be to that level, but I can leave that question to you.
So you can't come next Wednesday. Is that correct?
Not personally.
You come by Zoom?
I can try. Yeah,
Okay, because then you'll see the new property card.
sure. I can.
I mean, we can continue it for 2 weeks. I mean, if 2 weeks would be better, we can do that too.
No, I can try Wednesday. I appreciate if it takes this much time for this simple thing, I can imagine how horrible your lives are. Okay, so will I get a communication on, thank you. You've been very helpful, by the way. Anything else of me or?
And I should, once Russ has a new card, he should be sharing it with me and then I can share it out to you.
Yeah, obviously, I'm just interested in how all this stuff translates through to valuations.
Taxes. Yep. No, we understand. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good luck.
Right, so the next hearing is Bossert Trust. The number is 00202051.00041 Bossert Road. And
Yes, hello.
hi.
Meredith. Hi, thank you for listening to me and presenting this hearing. So I am looking at the new.
Hold on. You need to be sworn in. So don't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just hold on. And we'll control the process. All right, so the first thing we need to swear you and Russ in. Could you please raise your right hand? Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do,
Okay,
I do.
and what's your name?
Meredith Music.
Okay,
I'm the
Sorry.
co-trustee of the property.
okay. All right, Meredith, did you receive a copy of the rules of procedure for this hearing?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I've never done anything like this before, so.
Okay. Do any members of the Board of Civil Authority have conflicts of interest or have ex parte communications?
No.
No. I am seeing none. Okay, Russ, could you please provide a brief review of the property and its current value?
Okay, so we had a residential property at 41 Buzzard Road. It's got 130 acres and 126 acres are in current use. And there's four acres are excluded. The current, well, I'll have to clarify something. I noticed in this process, the data was not correct. So the property actually consists of a main house and a guest house. And the guest house is it's a short-term rental, I believe. And when
No, it's a full-time rental.
okay, so the town had it classified as short-term rental. So we'll have to.
That is the house. That is the residential house.
Okay, whatever, the town classified it as a short-term rental property. Not specifically which building is. It's just an overall classification of the property. It has a short-term rental,
Correct,
a 4-bedroom short-term rental.
correct.
So,
That is part of the farmhouse.
yeah, so when I was looking at the data and looking at the photographs, so what happened in 2020, the garage or the shed, I guess it used to be a garage. It's now basically a shed because it's not used as a garage anymore, I guess. And the guest house wasn't even valued at all. And then when I looked it up, the drawing that of the guest house was totally incorrect. So I had someone go out there and re-inspect it last week. And so we corrected the guest house data and we added the
I'm sorry,
shed.
I didn't hear most of what you just said. I didn't hear most of what you just said. You were filtering.
It says that the bandwidth on your connection is low.
Oh,
If you
So
turn
yeah,
on
you may be fading out on your end.
You might want to turn off your camera to save your bandwidth.
they're a little bit better.
Can you hear me okay now or not?
I
No, it
was
says,
fine the last hour and a half. I
No, it
can,
says-
yes, I heard it.
yeah, it says it's still low.
So you said guest house was not included in the last appraisal?
Right. So in 2024.
Well, I can't really change anything about it. I
Oh,
have all
Oh,
of
no, but
Just let Russ finish, please.
okay. So because I noticed it, I had to fix it. So we went out and inspected it and got the data. There was actually somebody there. I think he said he was the brother of the person that's renting the property. And so we remeasured it, took new pictures, and we put the value in. So the value actually went up from what the original assessment was. So the original assessment, which is on,
Yes, I know.
Wait, Meredith, let him please finish.
so the value went, after the grievance, the value was reduced some. And then the value that was up till today was $1,140,410. Correcting the guest house and adding the shed on increased the value of about $1,170,140. So that's a more accurate representation of the guest house and the shed. So that's the new value that we came up with.
Okay. Go ahead, Meredith, and you can present your case.
But in doing that, my questions for you is the shed, it shows on this valuation chart, it's put in there in 2022. My late mother got a permit for that shed in 2005. That's a very old shed. So I'm not sure where the 2022 figure came in for that shed. The other concern I have is both buildings are listed as having slabs, and neither building has a slab under it. The farmhouse has a original fieldstone foundation and basement that is a wet basement. And it was raised, I think, in the 1950s. The part of the farmhouse was lifted and put on cinder block, which is why it has been listed as having a slab and a cinder block basement, but it doesn't. And then in the east part of the farmhouse, it is basically just, it's just a building that was built on piles, you know, it's not a, or not piles, I'm not sure what you call it. It's got a crawl space underneath, and the cottage is the same thing. It doesn't have any, it has a tiny little crawl space under it that we could barely get insulated. Had to go into in a toboggan to get in there with a little skinny guy to go underneath it. And there's a lot of damage. That sunroom, sadly, which of course has nothing to do with much other than it should never have been sold to my late mother. It was, I know the company went out of business. It does not have the R value. It has been a nightmare. And if I had the money, I mean, it's a wonderful room to be able to enjoy, but it's bringing moisture damage into the house. The chimney on that side destroyed part of the floor because it was bringing in a lot of water. So it's one repair after another after another. I also want to mention that we have had the property in current use for a very, very, very long time, because we're that family that really wanted to hang on to the beauty of Vermont and not have any considerations of developing. And in order, I've done some research to take it out of current use would be incredibly expensive to selling any of the property. The valuation, when I see the valuation of the house at $857,000, that's the two houses I'm imagining?
Yes.
Okay. And I see that you referenced quite a few times Zillow. Zillow has this house as having diminished in value in the last 30 days at 13%. And it has it in a range of 549 to 1 point, like, what did they say? 1.16, I think it was. I have a screenshot of it. So, and they have it valued as a Zillow estimate, 846,000. I can tell you that the infrastructure, all of the electrical wiring is from the 1960s. I did do a new septic field several years ago. I had to do that, and that has worked out really, really well. Sadly, I haven't had the funds, and I'm the family member who is wanting to hang on to the farm and not have to sell it. And having kept it in current use for so many years is a beautiful way to devalue property, because it's in current use. And again, I think most of it, we do have a couple of flat fields that get mowed, and they're lovely, but there's also a lot of wetlands on that property. The foresting is so thick. I mean, there's very few buildable sites on it, and I don't want to split it up. So anyway, I know that the slab, I believe, has to make some kind of a difference in terms of the way the house is constructed. And I sent pictures. I live in Florida most of the time, and we've had two pretty horrible hurricanes recently. I had a bit of an emergency yesterday, so I didn't have as much time in the last couple of weeks to pull together more comparables and things like that. And I don't recall seeing any comparables. There aren't comparables for our property. It's a very unusual, unique property, both with its size and its location and its age, right? It's very, very old. So that's about all I have for you. And I really appreciate your time and your efforts. And I hope I can stay up there, but at least now I know why you have the $30,000 increase since my grievance. I was like, oh dear, what did I do? And that's absolutely certain that wasn't there before?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, in 2020. We added, I added the guest house without being able to, I did an aerial. I looked at the aerial, and the aerial gave me the basic footprint of it. So I put that in originally, but then realized there was something missing there. So then we went out and re-inspected it to get the proper dimensions and the proper identification of it. So I submitted comparables, but the problem was the system won't generate comparables if there's more than one dwelling on a property. So the comparables that I submitted, I took the guest house off so I could find comparables. So the comparables were created a value based on the guest house not being there. So it came in on the comparable worksheet. It came in a little lower in value than what we had originally on it because I couldn't compare it to properties that didn't have a guest house. So the comparables were done based on the main dwelling, the land, and having only one dwelling. So there are comparables there. They may not be the best comparables, but it's kind of hard to find comparables for a property that has 130 acres. So all the comparables that I came up with were 10 acres, 11 acres, 12 acres, 9 acres, and 10 acres. So the system automatically makes an adjustment for the land value based on the fact that it is a large property. But when I looked on, I looked at Redfin, I looked at Realtor.com, and they had a value of 1.36 million, and then Zillow had the same thing that you mentioned, and Redfin had 1.675 million.
Never having seen the house, I mean, that seems rather arbitrary. It doesn't seem like a very professional way to find comparables, to just look at websites. I mean, I'm not sure that.
Well, no, that's not how we came up with comparables. We used comparables from the computer system based on the data of the properties that it found that were comparable, except for the land. They have comparability in size for the main dwelling only, not the guest house. So the guest house is not even included. And I believe probably if some of these like Realtor, Redfin, and Zillow, if they use the data from the town, it would probably not have the guest house on it either. So I'm not sure where their databases are more, they have a deep database, so they can compare to properties in Wilmington and outside of Wilmington to come up with their estimate of value. All our comparables are taken from the town, and the values are adjusted based on comparable properties in town only, and not any properties outside of Wilmington. And so the new taxable value after current use, the taxable value is $949,630.
Say that again, Russ.
The taxable value after the current use reduction,
Yeah.
949,630.
30. Thank you.
That's your new valuation?
Excuse me?
That is the valuation that you are using now?
That's what you pay taxes. You would be paying tax. You don't pay taxes on the market value because the land is in current use. So we have to value all the acres that's in current use based on the state rates. So the state rate says forest is $180 an acre. Farmland is 400 and something dollars an acre. So that gets reduced. And what happens is the town gets reimbursed for that reduction. So the difference in the value between the market value that we have and the taxable value, that reduction, the state reimburses the town for that lost revenue.
I see. And what about where it shows that the last 30 days, there's been a 13% decrease in the valuation of our property on Zillow, for example? And
Well,
I think,
I didn't see that on
seems
the
like
other.
the market has softened everywhere, right? I mean, the market has changed a bit in terms of houses selling.
Well, I trust Realtor.com more than I would trust Zillow, and they had 1.3 million. It didn't show any reduction. And normally, like you said, they will show a reduction if they think the value has dropped in recent days or weeks or months or whatever.
And you don't think that any of the valuation of the aged infrastructure of the buildings has any remarkable reduction in the value?
We're valuing it as if it's roughly 34 years old. So we have an effective age, what we call.
What is 34 years old?
30. Yeah, we're saying it has an effective age of year built of 1990. So the house has been.
What has it? What house has been?
Meredith,
you're not letting
if you
him
would let
finish.
him finish, you would get the answer.
Okay, so sorry. So the way appraisal works is that fee appraisers and we have to use an adjusted effective year, and it's called an age life method. So we're saying that your house is equivalent to a house that's 34 years old.
I don't understand that. The house is about 200 years old.
Well, yeah, but see, if we put it into the system, that it was, whatever the actual year built was, say it was 1900, even 1800, it would put zero value on it because it was saying if you didn't do anything to it since it was originally built, it wouldn't have any value. So the system that the town uses is a national recognized valuation, and it says that if you have an average quality house, we have your house in as an average quality. It's not good or very good or excellent. It's just average good for that house type. And so Marshall & Swift says if you have a house and you didn't do anything to it for 55 years, it would be worthless. So the house has to be updated through the years in order to be livable. So we can't value it as if it was built in 1850. Otherwise, it would depreciate it down to nothing. So the effective year, or using the age life method, is an appraisal judgment call. So you can get 5 appraisers out there and they come up with 5 different numbers. So the number that I used was what I would apply to other properties, similar properties to yours, based on its age.
Well, that seems
So that's basically.
too modern of a for this property.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that.
Where does some authority have questions?
Yeah.
No?
Proposed value?
Meredith, what would you?
Well, I still feel as though that the 34. I'm sorry. I go.
We lost you there. But question to you is.
What did you say?
The question to you is, what do you think the value of the property should be?
Well, I'm not exactly positive, but I think that since it doesn't have a slab in either one of the buildings. I think that is a mistake being made. And I think for a house that was, there are parts of the house that were updated in the early 2000s. And yet the majority part of the farmhouse is as it has been for 60 years. So, and I hear what you're saying about the valuation, but I think 34 years is a little too modern for what's going on in the basement, etc. So they didn't make basements like that 34 years ago, I'm pretty sure. You know, I don't have a value for it because I couldn't find comparables for it that were comparable. It's a needle in a haystack kind of a property. And again, with having it in current use for the many, many decades, that is almost a devaluing property right there, because for me to get it out of current use is going to cost a fortune. So
Okay.
I've taken enough of your time.
So Meredith, determining the value is an important thing, and for you to come up with a value is important because, you know, as part of this process, you know, we're going to inspect your property, but then this board has to make a decision about whether the town's current value is correct, or there's an alternative value that you're proposing that we should set the value at. And so we ask everyone that comes in, what do they think the property should be valued at?
I would value it closer to probably $950,000. And I'm basing that on what I saw on Zillow and some of the properties that I did look at and see the differences in properties that I've seen that have sold. They are much more modern, much more finished, and have, you know, our windows, for example, are 100-year-old windows, you know, and the storm windows, and they're, you know, it's a lot of things that have to be replaced. So it doesn't seem to me that, again, it's a 34-year-old house with 100-year-old windows.
Okay. So the next step in this process is for us to go out and inspect your property. So we need to set an inspection team to do that. Any volunteers? I'll do it. John?
Doing it based on the date, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to work on next. So, Meredith, what date could we go up and see the property?
That gentleman that lives in the little house, he's around most of the time, and I did talk to him, and he's, of course, is willing to let you in. So you'd have to give me some options, and then I can ask him. Does work from home most of the time, so I think lunchtime is a typical time that he takes time off, walks his dog and such.
So,
but I could certainly get back to you and, you know, get with him and then get back to you.
John, do you have dates that work for you?
Tomorrow it will work, the 28th will work, the 29th will work.
Tom?
What was the first date? 20?
Friday for me are out.
Thursday and Friday are
You're
out.
out.
So the 28th or the 29th, that Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah.
Next Monday or Tuesday?
We're gonna do Mr. Schreiberg that day too. Why not? Let's really get into it.
29th, you have the
Will
1 o'clock.
Schreiberg.
Well, when is that, Therese?
The 29th, you have the 1 o'clock.
Let me text him real quick and just see.
Yeah, so let's do it in the morning, John. Can you on the 29th?
I can't do the morning.
That was another with you.
I have to go to the eye doctor.
Do the morning of the 29th if you want.
We
What
have,
date?
The 29th?
we have the afternoon, the 1 o'clock to on the 29th.
Do it right before.
Well, how
your
about the
1 o'clock.
30th then? 30th is what day?
30th is gonna be tough for me, I'm not sure, unless
Okay.
we do it early.
What about the 29th after?
Schreiberg. What time, Schreiberg?
1
One.
o'clock.
We
You
can
could
do
do
it
it
right
after.
before, right after.
Right.
Okay.
After
all
would
right.
work better for me.
I prefer to do it before.
The 29th is Tuesday.
29th? See, 29th at 2:15.
No,
That's a Tuesday,
that'd be
yes?
Noon, if I
No,
can,
LeBron's
before.
saying
Yeah,
before.
okay. All right.
I have a work meeting at 2
And
o'clock.
the
that I need to
appellant
be
is
back.
saying lunchtime would be better. She thought for the person letting you in.
All right, so
All right, noon. I can do
can
noon.
we get, we do noon and then Schreiber an hour later?
Yeah, that should. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to just make sure we can pull it off, that's all.
All right, noon on the 29th.
Okay, noon. 29th at Old Ark.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've just sent him a text. And whom should I call when I hear from him?
My town clerk's office.
Okay.
Meredith, can they get
So-
into the, can they also see the main house? 'Cause you said that was a
Yes,
short-term
that's what I'm saying.
rental.
He'll
Oh,
let
okay.
you in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Great.
All right, good.
Well,
All
thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Our final hearing is it Gant Cars? Is that how I pronounce your name, or? You're muted.
Yep, correct. That's correct
Okay.
pronunciation. Thank you.
Okay, so Gant Cars, number 0232016.014, 91 Landing Lane. Mr. Gancars, I'm going to swear you and Russ in on this thing. Could you please raise your right hand? Under the pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you've given the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
I do.
All right. Mr. Gancars, did you receive a copy of the rules of procedure for this hearing?
yes,
Great. Members of the Board of Civil Authority, are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications?
No.
No. Hearing none. All right, Russ, do you want to introduce this property, please?
Okay, we got a residential property at 91 Landing Lane. It has 0.43 acres and a contemporary style dwelling. The current assessment after the grievance reduction is $511,980.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Hold on, where is that? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Gancars. Please make your argument.
okay. It's pretty straightforward. I suppose you're probably familiar with the landing, which is a group of 17 homes on a cul-de-sac. And, when they were built back in 87, or starting in 87, I should say, and that's when I believe our house was built, there were several different styles. And it turns out that the style of our house is the exact same as the house across the street owned by Savage Barrett, and 3 houses down owned by the Chews. So they were all built around the same time. I'm not saying they all built in 87, but 87, 88, 89. We took ownership of the property in 92. So as far as the living space, we have not increased the square footage of at all. The 2 adjustments were that we expanded the deck probably 15 years ago to make a larger deck. And more recently, 2 years ago, put on a shed that's underneath the deck. And that was adjusted in the reappraisal. So we have 2 homes that are literally across the street and 3 houses down. The Savage Barrett house is appraised at $440,310. The Chew house is appraised at $450,330, and we're appraised at $511,770. I just have a problem with the fact that they have the same square footage, the same quality of building, the same age of the house. And yes, I understand a shed, which is a pretty minor thing, and, a larger deck. But, I just really believe that our value should be similar to theirs. Now, I see there's approximately a $12,000 to $19,000 difference in land value. We all have similar acreage, but, I see that we're higher on that. But, I really do think that our value, I've heard you ask previous applicants, what do you think it should be? Well, even assuming that we have a higher land value, I think our value should be more in the 465, 475,000 range. One thing I want to bring up that I noted, and I'm not sure how this was done, but when we had the first appeal last month or two ago, whenever it was, that's when it was indicated that the shed was added. But for some reason, they deducted a bathroom, and we've always had 2.5 baths. That's the way these houses were built. And I believe the current value only shows 1.5 bath. And so I want to be clear on that. If somebody understood that, I think it was a misunderstanding. I certainly didn't represent it. And I believe two years ago, or whenever the last reassessment was done, we were actually living in the home full time, and there was a gentleman that came out, and we let him in the house so that he got to see the whole house, so certainly it's nothing, you certainly couldn't hide a bathroom. So it's been there since we bought the house in 92, and certainly I've always represented that it has 2.5 baths. So anyhow, I just, you've sent me some comparables. I looked at those, but what I don't understand is the most comparable property would be these two properties that are the exact same model house in the same neighborhood. So that's my argument.
Great. Thank you. Russ, would you like to respond?
Okay, well, so yeah, we can fix that bathroom. If we're one short, we can add, the bathroom back in. I'm not sure. There was some misunderstanding. So we actually removed the bath at the grievance. But anyway, as far as comparables, the only properties we can use as comparables is properties that have sold. So if it didn't sell, then we can't use it as comparable, because basically, if it doesn't sell, we're not sure whether the value would be correct. So all the comparables that I included were properties that had sold starting back in 2021. So there was 2 sales sold in 23. 3 of the comparables sold in 2023. 1 sold in 2022, and 1 sold in 2021. Now, the one question I had was, do you have we have a hot tub included on the property? Is there a hot tub?
Yes, it's always been there. Yep.
And where is the hot tub?
The lower level.
It's in the house, inside?
Yes.
Okay. So if it was outside, we would only, anything that's out on the deck, we wouldn't include it. But if it's inside the house, then we include it.
Yep, and that's included in the lower finished level square footage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I guess, my question is, so you said you have to use comparables to come up with a value for my home, but you don't use comparables to use the Savage or the Chew house. It just seems inconsistent. It seems like,
well,
we're the same house, so why do I get comparables and they don't get comparables? And I'm not trying to increase their rate of taxation at all. I'm just trying to think if that's what the board has felt is a fair value for their 2 homes, why am I, $60,000 to $70,000 higher?
Mr. Gankar, let me just explain. Not everybody appeals their property value. And we do not have appeals from either of those properties.
Right. And if I was at that level, I wouldn't appeal it either.
Well, just to clarify, the comparable worksheet and the comparables are used for reference only. They're not used to value your property directly. They're used for support. Standard appraisal practice is that appraisers should provide two methodologies. So we use what's called a hybrid market adjusted cost approach for every house in town. So nobody's house is valued using comparables. And it's used, so everybody's valued accordingly using the same computer models based on the sales that we feed into the system to try to, set up a valuation model.
Okay. Well, okay. So one of the comparables you used was 83 Landing Lane, which is diagonally across the street from us. And, correct me if I'm wrong, it has a value of 408,701 and then an adjustment of 14,306.
No, that's just, no, that 14,000 is points. So that.
Okay, I'm sorry, points. Okay, so I'm just saying, you have a house, same neighborhood, same age, now that's a different model, so it's different square footage. I'm not trying to compare us to them. But that's 408,000 and we're 511.
Well, so the comparables are ranked. So comparable number 1 is the best comparable, number 2 is weaker, number 3, and that's what those points are at the bottom. The higher the points, the less comparable the property is. So that's how it sorts these, from left to right. And that sale is a very old sale. It's a 2021 sale. I didn't use a time trend, but if it was needed, I would use a time trend. That value should be bumped up roughly 30% from what it sold for in 2021. So the market's gone up in the last 3 years, roughly 30%. And the state has even stated that, in general, across Vermont totally, the increase in values have gone up considerably. So if you took that 2021 sale and you factored it up, it would value your property much higher than 408,000.
And I'm not asking that it be 408. This is just the crux of the argument. I guess I just don't understand, because I understand why other folks didn't appeal, and I don't blame them. If we were in that range, I wouldn't be appealing either. But the same model house in the exact same area, literally a couple 100 feet away, and it, is valued $60,000-$70,000 less, and I just think we ought to be in that range. So that's my argument, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Do members of the Board of Civil Authority have any questions?
No.
Nope. Okay. The next.
Well, I just had one more comment, because again, we talk about Realtor.com and Zillow and stuff. Zillow valued the property at $615,000. Redfin valued at $548,000, and Realtor.com valued it at $573,000.
I understand that. I wouldn't argue with you that it probably, if you looked at the values of a lot of homes that were appraised, Zillow would give a higher amount. I'm not going to question that. So I guess I'm just kind of saying we're all kind of in the same baseline. But anyhow, that's where we're at.
Okay. So the next step in the process is we need to set an inspection team and go out and inspect the property.
Amen.
Meg's in. Anybody else? I guess I'll do it. We need one more person. Tom, thank you.
Wow. How many people do you have at the table, for Christ's
Yeah,
sake?
I know. It's so
I could have done the 28th or the
All right,
29th again.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Gankars,
Yeah.
we need to set a date and time for an
Yep.
inspection.
Yep. Okay. You said the 28th?
Well,
Which date is that? Is that Monday?
hold on. Let me pull up
Yeah,
the-
it's a Monday.
Um,
We're out of state, and that's why but the 28th could work. I'm just seeing what your schedule is.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Yeah, I can do it.
Well,
How about you, Tom?
what time on Monday?
Well, can we do it in the morning?
Sure.
That work?
Yep,
Yep. What time's good?
anytime. You guys
Yeah.
want?
After 10, I get my flu shot Monday. That's
Okay.
Okay, so 11 or
11's fine.
11?
11, does that work?
11 o'clock on next Monday, the 28th.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Great.
And let me just ask one other thing. I'm 99% sure that that's fine. If we couldn't make it, I would allow you to go into the house. Would that, if we couldn't make it, was that acceptable?
Well, if you had somebody you could designate to do it, we'd like to have a witness going in.
Yep.
I
Okay.
find it very difficult to take all your furniture out at the same time.
Yeah, well, we got to be, no, that should be fine, us making it. So Monday, the 28th, 11 a.m. And if we can't, yeah, we might be able to get one of the full-time neighbors to come by, but I suspect we can be there.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, that would be
Okay.
fine.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night. And thank you, Russ, for your time
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay, you're welcome. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
So the other thing that was shared with you was your neighborhood streets.
Right,
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
got that copy?
thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
it's interesting.
That was from Russ.
Okay. So we have inspection reports, I assume we need to read.
John, is that yours?
Yes.
Okay, not that I mind.
No, it's just-
Just wanted
I
to-
don't
didn't
wanna
want to
keep
take
it.
it if you needed it.
We have Frano. Right?
Yes.
You doing Bosser,
Fabiano
Saviano.
is being ready. I didn't pull VT golf.
I can do
I
VT
had
golf.
given you guys an opportunity to
Yeah.
look it over.
The issue with the VT golf is not the inspection report, is we have not talked about.
Right,
the
we need to
valuation.
talk about it. Yeah, maybe we can.
Well, my question, wasn't he gonna drop off some
He did.
other
He did.
comparable?
But this is what he did.
I got that.
Well,
Did you get it?
yeah, so why don't we not do VT golf tonight,
Okay,
because
it's gonna be lengthy.
it's gonna be a lengthy debate.
How long do we have to get that done?
So we did it on the 8th, so how many days?
30 on the 8th,
So that'd be the 6th of
Next
November,
2
7th.
weeks out.
What's
the
that?
latest,
Will be the
when we need a
38th, so
decision on.
November
Once
7th.
you read the inspection into the record, you have 15 days to get the decision out.
Okay.
You have 30 days to do the inspection. We've been kind of trying to turn it around in 2 weeks, so you have,
So we did the
time.
inspection,
Yeah, we've done.
right,
so we're not on the clock until we read it into the records, is what you're saying.
for the decision, correct.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So you want to talk about that next week? Is that what you're
yeah.
thinking?
I will not be here next week
All right.
because the Yankees are home.
Oh,
And I have
Jesus.
tickets.
Uh,
World Series, so we're clear.
I have one question. I did not keep the material that showed any sales. We had the first night we had a hearing. His list included 2 that had actually sold.
Yes.
Did you guys have that?
Yeah,
Okay, good. 'Cause,
Russ's list, you mean.
no, the balance list.
So,
I don't think Russ had sales, did he?
yeah, he had some.
Oh,
sales.
okay, so we did
Not a
have
lot.
them from both sides then.
But Johnny presented that,
Extra list.
yeah, which
Didn't have,
defined the private courses versus the public courses.
Right.
18
Is that in the Dropbox too?
holes versus- It should be.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. There's a
Okay.
document.
You just didn't have,
It says public resort, private.
just
Which-
didn't mention sales on that one.
No.
It's just assessed value.
I think that's one that will need to be introduced when you do your inspection report in order to add it to your
Okay.
evidence.
Okay.
The only other one waiting on that is your Old Mill Lane one,
That's this one here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
which should be reading that report here soon. I don't know what date we heard that one.
Old Mill Lane.
Old Mill.
Right.
That was Stewart.
Oh, Stewart. Yeah. it's-
Oh, Stu was back one of the first ones. that-
Yeah, it was one of the first.
Who's just supposed to write that? Do we know?
I think that was that September 25th?
Yeah, that's a while ago.
It's been a while.
I wasn't here for that. I missed that.
Who's with us?
I did it. You did it,
Stewart, is that the name?
Yeah,
That's not even on the list.
right?
I have John, Bonnie, Tom, and Therese listed.
Did you come up?
Yeah,
Did Bonnie come up? Somebody said they were gonna write it. I didn't write it.
I didn't write it either. Yes, I said I did, but I don't recall.
I think that was a date that Bonnie ended up saying she couldn't do.
She did not come.
So it was
okay,
the
so
three of
it's
us.
Three of
three
us.
of you.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, I'll write it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll write it soon because we have to get it done soon, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll write it right away. Okay, so we're not doing that one tonight. All right, so we have two inspection reports. Let's read them and
Oh, Franos, I get Franos to you, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
so we'll start with Frano and then go to Saviano.
Okay.
Do you have a hard copy of Franos thing?
Yes.
Okay. Board of Civil Authority, address 699 Route 100 North, Wilmington, Vermont. The span and the tax ID are all included in the report. The above referenced property was inspected by BCA members Tom Fitzgerald, Meg Streeter, and John Gannon on October 19th, 2024 at 9 a.m. The assessor's office was not represented. Inspection occurred in the presence of the appellant, Kenny Frano, and his daughter Haley. The property sits on the edge of Route 100, consists of three buildings. The smaller two are used for storage and an overall catch-all for unused items. The larger of the two has also been used as a garage for the appellant's truck. It has dimensions of a pole barn and is used as such. Both are in poor condition. The main structure includes a silo as well as 2,809 square feet of space on the first floor. The building also has a full basement measuring the same as the first floor, as well as the second floor via a staircase that covers half of the area of the main level. All of the areas are utilized at this time for storage. There was some activity in the building at the time of inspection by three young men building cabinets. They made it clear that their heating element that was on the wall in the occupied area was theirs. And I had to say that because
I know.
they were clear about that. Theirs, and once finished with their project, they would take the unit with them. Other than temporary heat source, the building is void of central heat or sectional heat. The barn stores vast quantities of plain wood and specialty tools. The building is not occupied as a rule, as the owner is disabled and retired. The building has vertical board as siding, asphalt roof, and multiple windows. Most of these items are in average to poor condition. The basement still has signs of damage done by Tropical Storm Irene in 2011. The interior walls are mostly unfinished. The structure is in fair to poor condition. The appellant contends the assessed value is excessive at $179,480. The assessor had made that deduction for a land as it separated from the main parcel and it was unusable as a wetland. The appellant did not offer comparables, so he's not aware of any buildings in the area of like kind and quality as his. Meg Streeter did provide 2 parcels somewhat similar to Mr. Frano's. Both are smaller in area than 699 Route 100 North and are used as repair garage, and the other is primarily storage. Both have poured cement floors and are used on a regular basis. The building at 312 Route 9 East closed at $220,000 in 2021. And the property at 361 Vermont Route 9 West recently sold for $201,000. Both are garages and storage facilities. The best and highest use for this property is commercial.
Okay.
You know,
No, we can't argue about it yet.
the reason that 2 buildings that you sent were kind of critical, they're a hell of a lot smaller than this one up here.
But they're in very usable condition.
But very usable, yes, they are.
The
Yes, they are.
conditions, and they have good
Although-
parking.
although-
We'll talk about it after.
Did Larry Nutting buy that building?
No, he's a tenant still.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so now
Okay.
we're moving on to
Sodiano. The team was Sarah Fisher, John Gannon, Tony Trevino, and me. Inspected 11 Upper House Way, October 16th. Was that Monday? Just recently, whatever day
Yeah.
it was. That it's not right. It wasn't 5, or was it 5:30?
It was pretty late.
It was,
that day.
must have been 4. No, maybe it was 5:30. I'm sorry. My mind went blank. I'll read on while you look. I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah.
Neither the owner nor the assessor was present in front of the owners present to give us access.
4:30 was your.
4:30.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
It wasn't.
correct that. The property consists of 3 Chimney Hill lots with a house situated on one of the half-acre lots. House is well maintained, has 1.5 stories with a full unfinished basement. Foundation appears to be insulated concrete foam, which is known for being a construction upgrade. Heating system is an oil-fueled hot water baseboard system, community water system, and a private septic. On entering the house, there's a mudroom area adjacent to the living room, whose main features an attractive stone wood-burning fireplace, large windows, patio door open to a small deck, primary bedroom with full bath located off the living room. Kitchen is open to living and dining area with a large island separating the spaces. Beyond this living area is a hallway with 2 bedrooms, a full bath, plus an additional entry mudroom and stairs to the loft above and the basement below. The large loft has a bed and serves as an additional sleeping area. The houses were very well maintained with apparently all original features. The main rooms are carpeted and the flooring is in very good condition. Highest and best use, residential. I should put the age on here. Correct my mistakes, don't you?
Mhm.
Would be helpful. It's 2002.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now we can enter deliberation.
Deliberative session.
Yep.
Okay.